The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent Trading Hour with me. And it doesn't matter where I'm at, as long as you're here and it's the right time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on today? Well, we were up much stronger, but probably a little bit of an overshoot. Since about 11:30 or noon, I've been posting in the Tiger's Den that the option market makers were starting to collapse on 7,400 for the close today. That's plus or minus 7. So what, 46.93 to 47.07. It'll collapse a little bit more. I don't have time to run the numbers during the show, but it'll get a little closer to one side or the other of that. But give you a pretty good range of what you should expect for the close today. But I wouldn't be surprised if it gets within plus or minus 3 of 4,700 on the close, because they've just been so consistently settling on that around that 4,700 area on the SPYs and some of the other stuff that I watch. So we'll keep an eye on that, but probably not a lot of action before the end of the day. We had a lot of action earlier, so that's okay. What else do we have going on? I wanted to get to the sit rep and answer a few questions that I didn't have time to with Tim on the line yesterday. Somebody asked me again about Boeing and maybe the airlines and that kind of stuff. And of course, airlines, any travel stock, vastly outperforming the rest of the market today, mostly based on a new drug that would be a wonder drug, if it is as effective as they say it is, on avoiding death, which is kind of an easy metric to figure out. Unclear how well this thing is because the tests have been fairly small, but they're going to go ahead and I guess approve it. So got people like Gottlieb saying this is the end of the big national world nightmare of COVID. Maybe running around with that flag that says mission accomplished a little bit early. But we can all hope that it works well. Certainly anything tied to running around the globe and spending money, Las Vegas stocks, airline stocks, cruise stocks, they all popped extremely hard today. But the question I had a couple of days ago, I just didn't have time to get to it, was how do all these seemingly small flight cancellations end up canceling 1,500 flights in a weekend, whether it's Spirit Airlines or what was it, American this weekend? And most people don't understand there's a big change that happened pre-COVID, post-COVID. And that is that the airlines have to have a certain amount of, they used to call them stewardess. Oh, flight attendants is what they call them now. Because stewards and stewardesses, I don't know what's wrong. Attendants are so much better. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. You've got to have so many flight attendants. And in the past, because it cost enough to stop a flight if you didn't have enough attendants or a pilot. But if you didn't have attendants, it was problematic. So in the past, if you were like on a long haul 777, you needed to have, and a big boy, you needed to have 8 flight attendants before you could even put people on the plane, even board them, much less take off. So what happens is on this is you get one group of pilots that wants to protest, or you get some flight attendants that a little under the weather because they think they're being railroaded for some reason. They just decide not to show up. Well, guess what? That means that the next flight can't even, if they call the folks, let's say like a standby flight attendant, it takes 2 hours to get there, they can't even start to board the plane. And this has nothing to do with the pilots that are ticked. So it's not tough for a handful of folks to gum up the entire works on that. And when you look at it, just understand there's a lot of regulations that are there post 9/11 for the stewardesses and the flight attendants, depending on which one you want to call them. And of course, a lot of people in the flight attendants wing may not be as ticked off about mandates for vaccines as they are people going nuts in the air and them having to be MMA fighters. That's their particular gripe. And of course, the airline pilots, more than a few, from my understanding, have gotten a vaccine, and because of a variety of reasons, no longer have a medical license to fly. So they're kind of ticked off that they got this mandated. But if anything happens to them, well, literally nobody has to take a responsibility, not the airline, not the people that make the vaccines, and not the politicians that said they had to do this. So everybody's a little bit miffed. Everybody's got their own ox to gore, their own, what is it? Yeah, I've run out of metaphors. But just to let you know, when all this stuff goes on, there's more than one thing that happens. And as I've said earlier in the year, and well, almost for probably 6 months, the biggest problem for Boeing is not getting these planes out, but actually getting pilots to sit in the seats because they got rid of so many. Question is whether or not before the end of the year we see Congress act and say, you're not kicked out at 65 anymore, you're kicked out at 67. You can hang around for a couple more years and make some big wood as we train new pilots to take over for you. But as there's always, generally on any of these things, including the fiasco with the 737 MAXs, it's not as simple as you think. Generally, there's not one thing that happens, but a lot of things that happen to lead up to those things. And it's not just one thing. They call it the Swiss cheese model. You take a bunch of slices from different loaves of cheese, you line them up. Sometimes all the holes line up, even from the different blocks. And guess what? You can see through it. And that's it. That's why you don't have one level of security. You have multiple levels of security because you gotta, those holes, they line up and people die. Anyway, when we get back, we'll talk about Intel's big week. We've had lots of questions about what happens in NVIDIA through next week in earnings. There's something going on with them next week that I'm going to talk about. Then we'll get into charts. You can give me a call, 877-927-6648.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month and try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors.
What's separating you from the most successful men and women on Wall Street? That's right, information. Having all the information gives us the perspective we need to place the right trades at the right time. The TAS Profile Scanner is the premier market profile-based scanner. Powered by its acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner instantly filters over 2,500 plus global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. This powerful suite of tools leverages instant trade filtering and strategy formulation to show you emerging trades before they happen. For a limited time, you can save $100 off your first month by using the promo code UPGRADE, and you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Level the playing field with the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find under the Services tab at TFNN.com. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we returned, we're talking about stuff that kind of happened this week, things I have some opinions on, some ramblings, and you never know. But what is it? Oh yeah, there's 6 degrees. Yeah, got a request for that.
And now for 6 degrees of market separation with Dave White. Rambling tales of mixed metaphors and tortured analogies that might make a lucid point if given enough time.
Well, I don't know. There's not that much time. Anyway, Intel had a big week this week. And I may not say it's time to go long, but I might say that maybe a low is around the corner. They had a very good week. We talked about them going after influencers, I think late last week, and rolling out desktop chips. Wrote a bit about it this morning. I've got kind of a play on that with another stock that I think is probably a better bet. So we'll see how that turns out. But the things could be worse at Intel. There's a few things, but you might want to keep an eye on it. I think maybe as many times we've seen stocks start to move after the horrible CEO leaves, it doesn't automatically happen at once. Sometimes they're so bad, like the Microsoft one before Nadella, that it pops 10-15% on the day that Ballmer left. But probably not as big on this one because there's a little bit bigger mess to clean up. Software probably a little easier to turn around a big ship. But you know what? They're doing some stuff finally right. They do have the fastest gaming processor today. Doesn't mean that AMD won't come out with some other stuff. And wrote a lot about the other technologies revolving around a lot of what happens. And generally, it's almost always good when new technologies come out. And in Intel's case, there's about 3 new technologies on this board that come to light. A lot of them are things that are industry standards. It's just no one's done them quite yet. But yeah, very, very fast stuff. And, somebody was playing a game, I forget which one, on YouTube, one of the influencers, checking out just how fast the stuff was. And, he went from like a 45 frames per second rate with his setup with a NVIDIA card to like, I don't know, it was like 60 frames per second. So pretty significant upgrade in speed and capability from what AMD has today. I'm sure AMD will have something out soon enough that exploits some of these new stuff. Intel also licensing the Thunderbolt technology. You'll probably hear more about that in the coming years. That certainly is something that Apple's had for a while and makes things pretty good. Probably the biggest impact on most of the users here and traders would be the ability to have additional graphics processors in a box that you just plug to with a cable. But memory speeds, all that kind of stuff, we're starting to see it. And it doesn't all happen at once. And a lot of this stuff is going to take 3 to 6 months before we see products out on the rise. Certainly, NVIDIA will be a huge, and AMD video cards will be a huge recipient of these new faster speeds for their video cards. PCI 4 is what we have now, and there isn't a whole lot of stuff for that. PCI 5 comes out, which is really double the speed and double the bandwidth for that. So anything that uses a lot of data, like a video card or memory or hard drives or that kind of stuff, fast hard drives, will benefit a great deal. So kind of a thing, but generally big upgrade cycles and technologies start off kind of slow. Then you get into that big meaty part that lasts for a few years where they make a lot of money, and then it becomes more of a commodity, and that kind of rolls off on the right shoulder. I had a lot of calls about and emails about NVIDIA and what it would do coming into earnings next week. NVIDIA does have a big dog and pony before earnings. It happens pretty much every time this year, but it's it had been a live thing, but it's on Tuesday, and that is called GTC. It's their big machine learning technology group, and it happens before SIGGRAPH, which is a special interest group of graphics that I went to a lot in the 80s and 90s that led me into the computer graphics world for television and Hollywood. But that happens next week. It's a live event. And, generally I'll watch some of the stuff that happens after the CEO does his keynote address. But there may be some new products out there that you talk about. So watch that. I think it happens really Monday night at like 3 a.m. and then they have a rebroadcast of it 9 a.m. on Tuesday. So watch for some stuff in that. If you're playing the SMHs, I think that will be interesting. Yes, he didn't give up, Ruby. Ruby talks about Jesse Livermore's problem. But guess what? Jesse Livermore, he wasn't the only one. His dad had committed suicide. His mother committed suicide. One of his sons committed suicide. He committed suicide. Mental illness ran through the entire family. Now, the more interesting part, one of his sons lived across the street from me when I was raised in Hawaii. I didn't really, I remembered like nothing of it. He was a few years older than me and was, I don't know if you would call them friends, but certainly they ran around and played and skateboarded a bit with my brother, who was a few years older than me. Actually 4 years older than me. But, yeah, you know what? If they would have had lithium, since they've come up with drugs, the last of the Livermore family, nobody, I think, since the 1970s has killed themselves. So, there's always drugs. If lithium, I always say that if lithium existed for Jesse Livermore in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, that he would have owned the world. He would have made everybody look like a biker, because those swings in his personality and mental ability took such massive manic depressive cycles, he was able to wipe himself out and make it all over again without worrying too much. But always the funniest story of Jesse Livermore that I remember is right after the crash of 1929. His wife was used to getting a bunch of stuff, having a ton of jewelry, only to have him a couple of years later come and grab it all and hawk it. And then, 2 years later, give him a bunch back. Anyway, like October, November of 1929, she came in and said, I know I'm going to have to give all my now basically the equivalent of $300 million. We'll be back in a minute.
Are you having fun trading the markets, but having trouble finding like-minded individuals to discuss your trading and investment ideas with? Become an apex predator in the trading markets and join the Tiger's Den Trading Room only at TFNN.com. The Tiger's Den is an exclusive trading room where successful traders from around the world come to exchange trades and ideas. Join the den and surround yourself with the sharpest minds in the trading world. Subscribers to the Tiger's Den are also the first to have their questions answered live on air and can privately chat with our TFNN hosts live during their shows. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day. Subscribe to the Tiger's Den risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee and become part of the TFNN trading community. TFNN, educating investors.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den Trading Room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
To the show already in progress. What else do we have? Yeah. So all the stuff. Okay. Yeah. The NVIDIA stuff was for Hector. I think I got everything here at the very short term. If you have any questions or want to ask a burning question, call me 877-927-6648. Kind of a good day because I'm not expecting a whole lot here between now and the end of the day. Let me update this just to make sure. but we shall see. Yeah, 46.97.5 on the S&P cash. What else do we have out here? Question about the TLT. Apparently somebody was making a lot of noise about going short the TLT today. I saw a couple people bring it up, and I don't know who it was. It didn't ring a bell. Some hedgy folks. Anyway, you had a nice gap up here today. Mostly, I suspect, on the specter of huge government spending kind of going away. And, we're probably not going to have to think about it a great deal until after the first of the year, when everybody regroups and figures out how they can get some money in Congress. But in the short term, probably not much happen until after the first of the year. Questions about this. You got a gap up. I've said about 146.50 has always been the dividing line. You pop back above it out here. It's hard for me to get too bearish unless the thing gets back down below 146.50, 147-ish. Right now, I would say you probably have one more retest of 151-ish. And it seems almost ludicrous after what the Fed said. But guess what? Probably just too many people on one side of the boat. And someone hopped off, and they're going to get fried a little bit for being a little bit too bearish and not giving up easy, but making it hard. Kind of like Ike and Tina Turner. And Big Wheel keeps on turning. No, it's rolling down the river. That's she starts off easy, and then she ends up hard. Okay, what else do we have? Yes, UVXY. Very interesting to see it up on a day where we're up 17 points on the S&P cash. But certainly we got a little bit of a bounce out here, mostly on some heavy selling and shorting. Some of the problems I see are that the people that are going after the usual suspects, which I talked about in my newsletter this morning. Advanced Micro also still the most shorted stock out there. I'm not thinking that there's a whole lot out here to really say that you want to pull the trigger short on one of the best companies in the semi space. And do you have maybe a 40-point move out here that's maybe gone a little far? It has. Where would I look for this to pull back? Anywhere from about 123 to 130. I think it could. You may not get a whole lot out there because there are some news or people talking that at least on the high end of chips with Taiwan Semiconductor and others, that maybe other than cheap chips, at least the flow of the big expensive chips can continue. I've talked about it in terms of the 747 Christmas, but that's kind of it. If it's expensive and can be put in a plane because the parts are small and don't weigh a whole lot, if you can put an entire week's worth on a 747 from China or from South Korea and get it here, you can still, that stuff makes a lot of margin. You can afford to put a buck or two on a $700 video card from NVIDIA, or you can put on $5 for some memory from or chips from Qualcomm to get them down there and get them in some smartphones. Those are pretty small, $300, $500, $1,200 a piece. Are you really going to notice the difference between the $10 it costs to throw it on a 747? And believe it or not, that is what's carrying a lot of this excess load. These big transport 747s, a lot of the planes that were retired for passenger cargo were all turned into cargo airplanes because they are just so efficient at doing that if you gut the entire insides of them out. In fact, I think they're going to sell a few more 747s that are cargo-based brand new. I think they're still getting a few out. Boeing will. But if you can throw it on there, you don't have to hit the docks at Long Beach. You've got it. So, yeah, if you're a Ford or Chevy or Dodge or Chrysler or any of the car companies that are trying to make an entire dash for $17 in parts and everything's a quarter, you can't afford to put a couple bucks extra on every chip to get it there. But, NVIDIA, AMD, Intel to a lesser extent because they do have U.S. manufacturing. But, if you can get it on a plane, it's a 747 UPS FedEx Christmas all coming our way. U.S. House bill on infrastructure bill today. And I saw something else, but I'm sure things change. Reconciliation. I don't think it's everything I've read from the pundits, who I don't know if you can believe, says that nothing happens till after the first of the year now. But there's nothing as quick as changeable as the comings and goings of the folks in Congress. Anyway, I would just suspect that the TLT is telling us the truth. I don't think that we'd be up $2 on the TLT if there was a chance in hell that there was massive government spending coming our way. So I will say the TLT, not me, is calling a bovine brownness on any kind of spending, at least from what they can see. What else do we have out here? Question about Roku. ROKU. I did find out from one of my gentle listeners that, yes, there is a real problem with a lot of these televisions sitting in container ships waiting to be offloaded. Some people say that the big problem is with things that could mildew, like clothes, stuff like that, that have been laying around that are used to being on a ship and being offloaded within 20 days, and that they've been sitting 60, maybe a problem next to an ocean. But we shall see. But as far as Roku, you're finally getting down here to support. And that support comes in at 272.41 with 10 million shares. You got about 4.5 so far today. Generally, if you get into a low and you only have about half the volume, you generally don't have to prove the point by going below 272. Being in the candle sometimes is enough. We'll be back in a minute.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
As we get into the home stretch of the show today, you have a question from Hector about lamb research. Can this dog still hunt? He says. You got a nice consolidation range here. You wouldn't have liked to seen the higher volume low. It wasn't that extreme, though. You went from 2.5 million shares back here in a low, May 12th. You busted it, but you turned right around. So you got really kind of a false breakout, but you did have a little more volume. You're finishing a gap down that had some significant volume. Volume's okay there. All I got to say is I think you're in a big trading range from 670 back down to probably 520 or so. There's always the ability to go back and check some of these previous lows, but I think you're in a nice trading range. If we're true, we're coming out of the pandemic. I think that a lot of the reasons for shortages can go away on the high end. I think it will take a lot longer on the low end. So if you're doing something good like lamb research, where you're making some fairly decent wood and margins, you're not selling stuff for $1. These guys, market manufacturers, semiconductor processing equipment. So it's very hard to see that anything else is going to change in the near future. But we can see that. Okay. No, I don't want to answer. Okay. So that's kind of it. Yeah, they just make a lot of different stuff. So they're kind of a wide range. A strong flavor, as my father would say. But yeah, I mean, 3/4 of the stuff is probably going to do okay no matter what. Maybe all of it. Maybe they hit on all cylinders. But, if this continues, I'd say, yeah, back up to 670, see whether you can break out again. But I don't see anything that says the top of this gap is the end of lamb research move out here. Are there any boneheads shorting on semiconductor? Take a quick look at that. ON. Well, last couple of days it's been pretty strong. Let's see what the bi-monthly looks like. 4 days to cover. So not nothing. Generally, I start the big squeezes on 5 days to cover when I print them. As far as the individual stuff here, I'll go through it. For on, you have a couple of big days. Not so much yesterday, but certainly you have almost 30%, 28% on the first, 24% on the second. 20% 2 days ago, yesterday 1.6. So they're starting to get the starting to get the hint, Andy. But I don't know. We'll see whether or not they're going after it. But certainly, they were heavy on it at $55. Now it's $61.52 on a high today. You're probably going to get some kind of reversal, and ideally a buy on this would be about $53, maybe $52.50 on here if you get a pullback. If you're long it, I don't see any reason to blink. Generally, we're in that favorable part of the year where things just kind of stumble up into the end of the year. You need tax selling by now. And I don't see, at least for the indexes, it's not, a lot of stocks have already sold off. So I don't see a lot of tax selling coming on here. The index is moving up to the front. If I was predicting a lot of doom and gloom, I would be thinking just that. I'd be thinking, okay, who are the worst stocks right now? And do they start seeing some tax selling? If they're good stocks, I don't see anybody selling them. So, they'll probably hold them to the end of the year. If we're going to have a big move or tax changes, doesn't look like anybody's blinking here on all the rumors of giant taxes coming for the corporate world. Don't see any evidence that people are worried about it. I think they think that a do-nothing Congress is probably the best outcome for business. Yep. Okay. What else do we have out here? Okay. My next question, which is I've got to get, but yeah, those guys are just getting squeezed on. But yeah, as it went above 55, they jumped all over it, and my guess is that today they probably covered. So there may be a little bit of a pullback. I'm not thinking a whole lot there. Okay, what else do we have? Digital metals, DM. What is it? Desktop metals, excuse me. Nice pop. A lot of this happened on the back of SSYS, which is was pulling back a little bit earlier today. I made a lot of money on these when they were just coming out. You had a huge spike yesterday, and that was coming back today. Do you guys still hear me? I hear the Skype stuff in the background. If anybody in the den can say yes, they can still hear me, that would be great. Don't hear anything. Okay. Maybe I am, or maybe I'm not on the air. Okay, thank you. It's always weird to hear those Skype messages and think, hey, what's going on here? I wonder if it's someone trying to call me. That would be interesting. I didn't see anything or any messages that they did. Okay. Stratasys. Anyway, that popped, gave up a huge amount after it ran everybody. That's always makes you want to go, Of course, DDD, really the big final nail next week. I think that's on the 8th for earnings, or 9th. Kind of interesting, not see much going on here. But digital metals, probably going to move with the rest of the market here. Probably a little bit better than a lot of others. We've talked about short sale numbers on it. I did not look, but I will. Okay. Got a lot of shorts at $7. I'm sure they're wiped out now. The bi-monthly, they had 5 days to cover, so they were certainly on the list of naughty, not nice for people shorting them. So not surprising that you got the kind of move you did on their earnings this week. Let's see what SSYS looks like. And not near as much. Probably a good indication on why they popped and dropped as fast as they did. Additional metals, good. DDD, what do we got next week? Yeah, all in the mid-teens, little teens. Don't have a lot piled up. Back.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are you looking for a secured investment which pays you on a monthly basis? The Tiger First Mortgage Program may be the program for you. The best rate on a 5-year CD in the country right now, according to Bankrate.com, is paying 1% per year or $1,000 per $100,000 invested. The Tiger First Mortgage Program pays 7% per year, paid monthly, on secured, high-value, buildable properties in St. Petersburg, Florida. The investment is for 4 years, paying 7% per year or $7,000 per $100,000 invested. Your investment is secured by high-value real estate in St. Petersburg, Florida. Your investment can be anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. Do you want to make $1,000 per year on $100,000 invested or $7,000 per year on a secured Tiger First mortgage? The Tiger First Mortgage Program may be just the program for you. The Tiger First Mortgage Program pays 7% per year, paid monthly. For more information, you can call 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
As we get ready to wrap up the day, options have been focusing in for the close since about 11:30, around that 4,700 mark. And even me is going to be probably a little bit amazed at how good this was. We were, I think, around noon at plus or minus 7 on a 4,700 close from options predictions. And, anytime you can get a range like that, it's fairly narrow on a Friday from weekly options. It's pretty good. Of course, we start next week's that. But, one of the reasons to be in the den. Occasionally, I drop a walnut or a peanut around occasionally. But look fairly good. We'll see how close that actually gets. I'll run the numbers after the show, but and we'll talk about it on Monday. But it takes a while to run them all. By the time you get them done, it's at 3 o'clock. Show's probably over for the close at 4. But we'll keep an eye on it. But pretty much in line in what the option market makers thought by about 11:30 or 12 today. So maybe they're pushing on a little bit. Maybe they just knew something we didn't. But nice close for the day. Volume we haven't gotten to because I wanted to see what it looked like more at the end of the day. But 8.5. We've had better volume this week. it really starts looking like fall volume. It never really came along through maybe into the last week of October. We started to get a sniff of it. But the last 4 or 5 days, we've been in 11 billion share range, which is about a billion shares more than the run rate on the CBOE volume. So that looked pretty good. Well, we'll see how close the options guys are to getting it absolutely right. 4,700 for the close. Let's see. So when you can, not when you have to. We will see you here like a bad rash. I will be back 2 o'clock Monday.